The rain hammered against the floor-to-ceiling windows of Marcus Chen's corner office, each drop like a desperate knock begging for entry. He sat motionless behind his mahogany desk, staring at the wedding photo that had remained untouched for 3 years, untouched except by the dust that seemed to settle heavier with each passing day. Sarah's smile beamed back at him, frozen in time, while outside, the city of Chicago blurred into watercolor streaks of light and shadow. The intercom buzzed, but Marcus didn't move. He hadn't really moved, not in any way that mattered, since the accident. The door opened without permission. Only one person in the entire Chen Industries building dared such audacity. Margaret Torres, his secretary of 15 years, stepped inside with her usual no-nonsense stride, but today something was different. Today, she wasn't alone. Mr. Chen, Margaret's voice carried an unusual tremor, there's someone here to see you. Behind her stood a young woman, maybe 25, with tired eyes that held a familiar warmth Marcus couldn't quite place. In her arms, she cradled a sleeping child, a little girl with dark curls that caught the dim office light like spun silk. I'm sorry to bother you, sir, the woman said, her voice barely above a whisper. My name is Elena Rodriguez. I was hoping we could talk. Marcus finally looked up, his steel-gray eyes taking in the scene. The woman's clothes were clean but worn, her shoes practical rather than fashionable. The child in her arms couldn't have been more than 4. Her small face peaceful in sleep despite the storm raging outside. I don't take in scheduled appointments, Marcus said, his voice carrying the weight of 3 years' worth of isolation. Please, Elena's voice cracked. It's about Sarah. The name hit Marcus like a physical blow. Nobody spoke Sarah's name in his presence anymore, not after the first year when he'd made it clear that the subject was closed, buried along with his wife in Graceland Cemetery. Margaret shifted uncomfortably. Should I stay? Marcus commanded, then looked back at Elena. You have 5 minutes. Elena stepped forward, adjusting the sleeping child in her arms. 3 years ago, your wife saved my daughter's life. The office fell silent except for the rain's relentless percussion against the windows. Marcus felt his chest tighten, but he said nothing. It was December 15th, Elena continued, her voice growing stronger. There was a fire in our apartment building on the south side. Sarah was there doing volunteer work with the community center, helping families fill out job applications. Elena's eyes glistened. When the fire started, everyone ran. Everyone except Sarah. Marcus's hands clenched involuntarily. He remembered that day. Sarah had come home late, her clothes smelling of smoke, dismissing his concerns with her usual laugh. Just a small kitchen fire at the center, she'd said. Nothing to worry about. She went back, Elena whispered. 3 times. The first time, she got Mrs. Patterson from the 2nd floor. The second time, she helped the Johnson family with their newborn. The 3rd time, Elena looked down at the sleeping child. The 3rd time, she came for Sophia. The little girl stirred in her mother's arms, her dark eyelashes fluttering against her cheeks. As if sensing the weight of the moment, she opened her eyes, and Marcus felt the world shift beneath his feet. They were Sarah's eyes. Not in color, but in expression, that particular combination of curiosity, kindness, and mischievous intelligence that had first drawn him to his wife 20 years ago. The same eyes that had looked at him with such love, such hope, even in those final moments in the hospital after the car accident. I see my wife in her eyes, Marcus whispered, the words escaping before he could stop them. Elena nodded, tears flowing freely now. Sarah didn't just save Sophia that night. She changed our entire world. After the fire, we had nothing. But Sarah, she made sure we had a place to stay, helped me find a job, even babysat Sophia when I had to work double shifts at the diner. Marcus stood slowly, his legs unsteady. Why are you telling me this now? Because Sophia has leukemia, Elena said simply. We've been fighting it for 8 months. The treatments, the hospitals, the bills. She took a shaky breath. I lost my job. We lost our apartment. We've been living in my car for 2 weeks. The revelation hit Marcus like a sledgehammer. Here was this woman, this child, connected to Sarah in ways he'd never known, suffering while he'd been drowning in his own grief. I'm not here asking for charity, Elena continued quickly. I came because Sophia asks about the pretty lady who saved her. She remembers Sarah's voice, her laugh. She draws pictures of her. Elena reached into her worn purse and pulled out a crumpled piece of paper, a child's drawing of a woman with yellow hair and a big smile, surrounded by hearts. I thought you should know that Sarah's kindness is still alive in the world. Sophia had fully awakened now, studying Marcus with those familiar, penetrating eyes. Suddenly, she wiggled out of her mother's arms and walked over to the mahogany desk. With the fearless curiosity of a 4-year-old, she picked up the framed photo of Sarah. That's the angel lady, Sophia announced matter-of-factly. She smells like flowers and makes the scary things go away. Marcus knelt down to Sophia's eye level, his voice catching. She was my angel too. For the first time in 3 years, Marcus truly saw beyond his own pain. Here was Sarah's legacy, not just in the lives she'd saved, but in the ripple effects of her kindness. Sophia wasn't just a child, she was proof that love transcends death, that heroism lives on in the hearts of those we touch. Margaret, Marcus said, his voice stronger now, call drive. Stevens at Northwestern Memorial. Tell him we need the best pediatric oncologist in the country. Today. He turned back to Elena. And call our real estate division. I want them to find suitable housing for Ms. Rodriguez and Sophia. Furnished. Rent-free. Elena gasped. Mr. Chen, I can't. You can, Marcus interrupted gently. Because Sarah would have insisted on it. Because some things are more important than business. Because. He looked again at Sophia, who was now tracing Sarah's face in the photograph with her tiny finger. Because I see my wife in her eyes, and Sarah never walked away from someone who needed help. Over the following months, Marcus watched Sophia fight her battle with the same courage Sarah had shown. He visited the hospital regularly, bringing books and toys, sitting with Elena during the long chemotherapy sessions. Slowly, the ice around his heart began to thaw. Sarah's foundation, which he'd established but never truly embraced, became his passion project. He funded new wings at children's hospitals, scholarships for single mothers, community centers in underserved neighborhoods. But it was Sophia who truly brought him back to life. Her laughter filled the corners of his office, her artwork covered his refrigerator at home, and her innocent questions about Sarah helped him remember his wife not as a loss to grieve, but as a gift to celebrate. 1 year later, as Sophia rang the bell marking the end of her cancer treatment, Marcus stood beside Elena, tears streaming down his face. The little girl ran to him, wrapping her small arms around his legs. Mr. Marcus, she said, looking up with those eyes. That had changed everything. The angel lady told me you were sad. But you're not sad anymore, are you? Marcus lifted Sophia into his arms, feeling Sarah's presence stronger than ever. No, sweetheart, I'm not sad anymore. I'm grateful. In that moment, surrounded by the warmth of newfound family and purpose, Marcus understood the greatest truth Sarah had ever taught him. Love doesn't end with death, it multiplies through the lives we choose to touch, the kindness we dare to show, and the courage to see light in the darkest of times.